All right, welcome to the Detroit Lions News Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Chapp, along with James, and we're here on a day that's, I think it's annual tradition. It's kind of like the Masters, uh, very conscientious about the live mock draft. It's a very prestigious thing. Now, I can say the rough or whatever Jim Nance can't say, I can say because I'm not held to the same standards of Jim Nance, but it's a tradition like no other. And we're going to get into that later. Obviously, we have a lot to talk about with the Taylor Decker situation. James didn't give a chance to give his input. I thought I have a video. I did a video
Yeah,
on
you were not too pleased with that development.
oh, I was so pissed.
I mean, I was basically saying the same thing.
I was really pissed because I'll tell you this, James, and like we can go right into it right away because I think this is something that we could just get out in the opening. I didn't like the Taylor Decker stuff because I felt, and I don't know how you felt. I read your X, but I didn't get your full opinion. I felt like it was like total athlete entitlement. Like, oh, I didn't get a thank you. Like, what do you need a thank you for, bro? You got paid $100 million. You don't need a thank you. You need to just. I don't understand that. And then the other thing I don't understand is this is like the fifth or sixth or seventh guy that's came out and like said something. Either it was Alex Anzalone or it was DJ Reader on Twitter saying, "I'm gonna get that money, bro." Somewhere else, it's like then go, okay, like go. You can't even get a sack, so whatever, go. It just felt like something was off in the locker room. And like if you hear what Dan Campbell said, and I put this in the video, he talked about the end of the year. He said, "I just want to get back to the things that we were doing a couple years ago." And what I mean by that is just getting back to a little bit of what we did at the ground level, man. Just a little bit of the way we train, the way we go about things. The way we go about things kind of struck me because afterwards someone asked him, "Hey, what do you mean by that?" And he's like, "I'm not going to get into it." Like he literally, I watched a video. He was like, "I'm not getting into it. I'll get into it at a later time." He was not happy about what he was feeling. So I don't know, man. I just felt like there was too many people with egos, and I think ego could really kill you. Now Justin Rogers, he had the great thing about he went to Arizona. Good on Justin Rogers, really good interview. Had a hell of a week last week with the Brad Holmes interview and then
Yeah.
going to Arizona to go to see Taylor Decker. Pretty good week for him and his Substack. So good for him. But like I was really annoyed by it, to be honest. Like the whole Taylor Decker thing, like he could just shut up, in my opinion.
And piggybacking off that a little bit too, because the thing that I thought was most interesting, because I thought the timing of it was just really strange when it actually happened, when Taylor Decker was the one to put out his, year 11 post that he was back. And then it was shortly after that that it was then, the Lions are releasing him. And then in this, I guess with, reading this piece and seeing this news come out, it was almost to me like that was like almost like a play by Taylor Decker to post that just because it was like radio silence or whatever. I don't. It's a very strange. This was not how I like with the season wrapping up last year. This would not be how I would have envisioned all of this going. And I posted probably a while back when maybe when all this was first going down that Taylor Decker was the one guy I kind of felt like he would just almost let and it's probably not like I'm not saying players should do this, but it was almost to me like Taylor Decker would just be like, okay, whatever, Lions, like pay me whatever, like I'm not playing on another team. Like he just was the one guy to me that it felt like he just was a Lion forever and almost maybe, he would maybe take the pay cut and just play his last year here because the Lions meant so much to him. But yeah, all this is just very strange. And I wonder too, is he gonna like play again or like did he really think he was gonna get was this just his way of getting the full contract or I don't it's all very weird to me how it's played out and um I'm kind of just waiting if he retires or if he plays, and then once that happens, maybe I can fully wrap my head around it because this is still a guy that's he's been here for a long time. He was obviously the longest tenured player on the team. He was playing a important position his whole career, and certainly it's ended, and it's just weird how it's all happened. And I'm kind of just waiting for is he just going to retire? Maybe that will allow me to fully view it differently, or maybe it is just he wanted every last penny and didn't care who he was going to play for, and that's why he initially posted that. I don't know. So just kind of a weird thing in my mind.
Here's my thing. I think two things can be true. One, he probably wanted to he didn't want to take a pay cut because of why would you want to take a pay cut? And two, he overplayed his hand. I think his agent gave him bad advice, like saying, let him cut you, let him
That's what I
release
want to
you.
know. Like, did he think he was going to get paid? Because like no tackle has gotten even like Rasheed Walker, who people
Well,
thought was going to get paid the most, took like a 1 year, $10 million deal.
well, here's the thing, and I heard this opinion on, I think it was NFL Sirius XM radio or someone. They said, "How in the world do you think that you can go and get released and think you're going to get top money like you of the tackle market when you were saying all year long, you were saying, I'm injured, I'm hurt, I don't know if I'll be here next year, I don't know if I'm going to retire." That was what you were saying. So then when you got released, these teams are not going to take a chance. Well, some teams will. Some teams will take a chance on you. I mean, for God's sakes, what was the one numbnuts from Michigan? I forget the guy's name. He got tons of chances to be a tackle, and he just never really was. But it just goes to show you, like, I think his uh, agent overplayed their hands. I think that was one thing, and I think the second thing was he came out and he said all this. What he put that clip out there that he was not the clip, but the getting released. Like he said goodbye Detroit, right before Detroit could even say anything. And I think that's what pissed them off. I mean, it was telling in this interview. He said right here. He says he had to reach out to contact with position coach Hank Fraley. Doesn't that seem a little odd to you that your position coach didn't reach out to you? I mean, because
This whole thing is odd to me, dude. Like it's this whole thing's strange to me. It feels
I
like
s- I
we
say
don't
that
maybe
I
know the
say that
full story or something, or
I say
maybe
that
when they
because
had the end of season meeting, there was
yeah,
something that there's a disconnect now that Taylor wasn't releasing, or I don't know. It's just none of this makes sense to me, honestly.
I say that because Aosika said that he talked to Hank Fraley before he signed with the 49ers. So Aosika gets contacted by Hank Fraley, but you have to reach out to Hank Fraley. Something is wrong. You
I
know what I'm
also
saying?
think too there's an element of like Taylor Decker maybe like for lack of a better way to put it, Taylor Decker thought he was more important than what he was. Like whereas the Lions were, and I think if they had to play it again, I don't know that from a Frank Ragnow perspective. I don't know. To me, you almost just have to do it like how they did it because Frank Ragnow is a game-changing player, and like okay, like Frank, you just have to tell us. Obviously, the earlier the better, but he's a season changing type of player. So you kind of just have to go with the flow with that. With Taylor Decker, who's going on his last leg and didn't practice last year, and you know more Lions fans than not would tell you he wasn't even good last year.
Well,
I would we were probably more in the outlier saying he was still kind of a league average
yeah.
player. Um, but the Lions just didn't seem to have any interest in like really playing this out. So like maybe they did make their decision super early, or yeah, I don't know, but I do think there is an element of yeah, like we're certainly not for where Taylor Decker's at in his career. We're not gonna like, the extra money might be the thing that the Lions wanted more than Taylor Decker. So it was nowhere near what the Frank Ragnow situation was. And then on top of it, they a lot of people still felt like if the Lions had to do it again, they couldn't do it like they did with Frank Ragnow because they would needed an answer way sooner. So I just think the combination of both of those was just like, yeah, like Taylor, like maybe you're just the indecision and your level of play and your health, and it's tough to run it back. Certainly, we're not running it back at your full 20 plus million. And maybe the Lions, and I don't think the last thing I'd say is I don't think the line like maybe they did just assume like okay Taylor Decker will take a big pay cut, and we'll have him, we'll still draft a rookie, whatever. Like I don't think that was necessarily a bad assumption by the Lions. So it and I'm surprised Taylor Decker didn't just be like, okay, whatever, this is my last season. I'll just take whatever you're willing to pay me. So, maybe both sides thought one thing and it happened the other way, but it just kind of is what it is, I guess, at this point.
Last thing I'll say on this topic, because it honestly doesn't need to be rehashed a million times, is what I
Yeah.
found funny, James, and you'll find this funny too. There were people that were very upset that Brad Holmes didn't get a replacement for Frank Ragnow when he retired. And so I find it very curious because there's certain people in Lions Land, Lions content creators, Lions podcasters, media people, they were upset that Brad Holmes made the decision on Taylor Decker when he did. That's what I found fascinating because it was like,
Yeah.
wait, hold up. Last year, Frank Ragnow retired on his own accord after the draft, after free agency. So there's nothing that you could really do. Like, what are you going to do? Trade for someone? And then someone's going to learn a language. Like you had Graham Glasgow, so you could just roll into it with Glasgow and hope for the best. Like, I know that they were thinking about Tate Ratledge going to play center, but Tate Ratledge has never really played center. So that don't make any sense. They tried everything. Didn't work. They tried Glasgow. Didn't work. Tried Kingsley. Did not work. So they turned over every stone. It didn't work. Most of the teams in league need a center. And if you don't find a good center, you're kind of out of luck. And I think the biggest thing about a center is their communication with the offensive line. And Taylor Decker, I mean, if they felt like he was going to retire at some point during the offseason, maybe that's a reason that you say, no, we're going to hit this, but we're going to get this done real quick. And I think also you have to remember going into Taylor Decker, if Taylor Decker was let's say September, no, let's go August. He says, I retire. You gotta Penei Sewell can't train for the left side that quickly. So then you're pretty much hoping that Larry Borum could play on the left side, but I don't think you would do that. It would throw off a bunch of things. That's
Yeah.
why it's such a
Whereas now, really after the draft, you should 100% know what your plan is. Is Panay going to play left? Is the rookie? Did he
Penei's
draft
probably
the
gonna play left.
rookie? Do you
Yeah.
think he's gonna? Do you think the rookie's for sure going to be a starter? Do you think it's going to be more of a competition with Larry Borum? I mean, really, they should have those answers for the most part. I think after the draft, like they'll be, especially if it's a guy they like and are convicted. Like if they pick someone at 17 that they're in love with, or like you have to think that they'll probably be a starter. But we'll see after the draft.
The problem is when you talk about tackles and rookie tackles, like there's a varying window where they have to like kind of like learn, and I don't think you could really do that necessarily, especially with the division you play in. You play with Micah Parsons in your division, Van Ginkel in your division. Like you got Abdul Carter and Brian Burns on the schedule. You got a bunch of pass rushers you got to go against. So I think that weighs into it too, because you can't just say, let's throw a rookie tackle out there. When you look at I went back in the draft, right? And I went down the last 10 years. I think there were like 70 tackles taken. Okay. Only 2 were adequate or elite. There was I think there's like 5 or 7 that were just like middling, like they were all right, but they weren't great. You know what I'm saying? The vast majority of them, top 10 in pressures, top 10 in sacks allowed. I mean, the only 2 that were really good in their first year, and he hasn't been, I don't think his first year was that great either. I mean, if you ask him, Penei Sewell and Lane Johnson, those were the 2. Those were the 2. And if those are your 2, I mean, what do you expect? Like, what do you really expect? What do you expect out of a tackle coming in it probably would be the same thing like a mahogany. Like you'd have to have the same.
Taylor Decker's how did Taylor Decker's rookie season go? It was decent, wasn't it? They made the
It
playoffs
it,
that
it
year.
was
It probably
it was
wasn't, like, incredible, but,
it
like, good
was
enough.
it was all right. It was good enough. It was one of the middling ones, to
Okay,
be
yeah.
honest. So
I think you're hoping honestly for that, and anything better would be incredible. But if you can get a s
I laugh
like
because you look at the last like 4 drafts and you go, holy shit, they're all bad. Like they were all bad. So again, it goes
the
like
Bears didn't the Bears take the guy that got injured, like Trapullo or whatever?
yeah,
He was like a
Trapullo.
4th round pick, though.
Yeah.
He looks that just is like an incredible pick, I guess, if he's because I think they think he's like a legitimate player.
Well, it's interesting if you go over the course of what 10 years and you look at the tackles taken in the first and second round, and then you look at the tackles taken from the second round. I mean, it's the third round from to the seventh round.
They're better.
They're better. It's
Man,
crazy,
yeah, it's
very
a hard
crazy. But
position.
it's a very hard position. It's kind of like we talk about it all the time. It's kind of like wide receiver a little bit, corner a little bit, because you can get some
Yeah.
corners that are pretty good deeper in the draft. I mean, running backs obviously, but it is what it is. Now let's go on to the next topic because I think we have to talk about this topic before we get to our live mock draft. Rodwood speaks, and I mean, I take back every word I said about him.
I know, honestly, I was
Um,
thinking ba you almost, like, convinced me. I'm like, "Man, maybe Rod Wood was good," and then
he's a
over the
he's
last
a
couple of days, like, all of my I've never
oh,
really liked Rod Wood, to be honest. I
okay.
hate to hijack this, but I've
Let
never
me.
really liked Rod Wood, and, like, I just the last couple of days have, like, been unbelievable, especially because he's already I feel like most people probably even, like, when they first were seeing
You're
quotes
retiring.
yeah, like, people like, "Didn't this guy retire, like, a month ago or whatever?" So it's like, oh my gosh, all of this stuff he's talking about, it's like the Frank Ragnow not getting paid thing was, like, basically him going on a tangent, and it wasn't Frank, like, leaking something and being pissed off about it, so, like, he's talking about this, he's talking about that, he's talking about, why they're not spending on an edge player, and I just it's
You didn't
unbelievable,
need
and
to
then he's
say all that.
yeah, and then he's talking about how, like, he's not a football guy still, and, like, with the criteria of the next position, it'd be a bonus if the next guy was, but then here he is still talking about a bunch of football stuff, so it's just that's all and the other thing too is, like, you no one can deny that Rod Wood is just kind of like I describe him as, like, a smug kind of person, just with kind of how he's talking and how he'll react to certain stuff and just his overall demeanor. So like like I hope our next president, who I think probably all Lions fans are in agreement. They probably want Mike Disner. I don't want a personality type forget if they know anything about football or not, which Mike Disner definitely would. So that would be just an added bonus, as Rod Wood mentioned, with the criteria they're looking for. Not a requirement, but it'd be great if they would. But I don't want someone that like carries himself like Rod Wood. And if he just would have fully realized his place, because I do think he's done a lot of good stuff with even just like the new uniforms, and just all the stuff like that, the scheduling of the team. But like, stop just like fully embrace that you're not a football guy and stop talking about why the team isn't interested in Max, like bringing up like Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson. Like, shut up, Rod. Like, especially now that you're out the door fully, like you're gonna retire. Why are you bringing he's bringing on a lot of talking points that's turning into negative publicity for the team. So it's just like, stop.
It's funny because okay, I'll give you my opinion. My opinion on this is there's certain people in life, whether um, God, like you're a great businessman, but you suck on camera. That's just the way it happens. Like there's like one of the guys I think is hilarious. He's absolutely hilarious, and you could kind of tell that he's related to Jim Farley, but the guy who was the CEO of Ford, because when he gets on camera, he's kind of like, no, no, man. It's like certain people are good on camera, and certain people aren't, and certain people should never talk to the media.
It's like Al
Um,
Avila shouldn't talk to the like, when
well,
Al Avila
Al
would talk to the media, it would
if
just
you had to
it'd be
do
horrible.
if you had to do a Detroit power rank of GMs and team presidents that should not talk to the media, Al Avila is one and Rod Wood is two, and they might be 1A, 1B because every time they talk, it's just like, what are you stupid? Remember when Al Avila said, remember when Al Avila said he was trying to trade Nick Castellanos, right?
Ah,
And he goes,
this is an underrated situation that he really was horrible with.
this guy has no trade value. You're like,
Yeah, he tanked his trade value, and then he,
are
like,
you
won a like, he was amazing for, like, the next 3 to 5
it
years.
was it was the most funniest shit ever because he was like, "This guy has no trade value," and you're like, "Aren't you trying to trade him or what's going
And he,
on?"
like,
You know?
yeah, I hated that whole situation.
Oh
Nick
my god! But
Castellanos was basically, like, begging to be re-signed, and they're just, like, saying all the, "Yeah, he can't doesn't really have a position," and like, it's like, "Dude, aren't you stop saying this. You're gonna trade him? Like, stop saying he's horrible."
it was absolutely hilarious that he said that, and I just laugh at it because like Quandre Diggs comes out, says something. Alex Anzalone comes out, says
Herman
something.
Moore wrote, like, a Twitter article. Did you see that?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It was, yeah, it was
I
well
liked the
done.
gist of it. And here's the thing: it would have never came out if he didn't say anything.
It was all his fault.
Like right now, it's not saying, "Dude, they didn't pay. I had to pay back my bonus." That was never coming from Ragnar. There's no point. Even people like Frank Ragnar. One of his people is on Twitter a lot and says stuff. He said Frank would have never said this. That's exactly what he said. I was like, then what the hell is this guy saying? And then he's
And
going
then
and saying,
oh,
and then Rod Wood's saying, "Oh, we weren't in the market for edge rushers like Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby." Like, just shut up, dude. Just shut up. Like,
it
stick
The
to
the
what
other
you were
thing too
saying.
with how he was talking about the Frank Ragnow thing is, like, even if it was just you're resigned to the fact that at some point it was gonna come out that you like, we asked for the money back or whatever, like, that's probably a reasonable assumption that at some point that would have come out through one way or another, even if it was just them at some point asking someone with the Lions, like, it would probably have to be answered, but don't go into the whole comparing it to Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson, and this is just our policy, and this and that. And then he also kind of contradicted himself by saying, like, I think it was the next day he was someone asked him a follow up, and he's like, I'm done talking about this. You know, where each situation is different, even though he's like, it's not really that this is just the Lions policy, I guess. So just his whole answer, and you didn't need to go into the whole spiel about bringing like, you almost wrote the headlines for everyone by bringing even mentioning Barry and Calvin. So it was just like, what a incredibly horrible media session, honestly, by Rod Wood.
And honestly,
I
if I was
usually honestly look forward to him because he'll talk about, like, some things that, like, he
uniformed,
talked about the schedule, and there was some interesting things that came about it with the schedule, but, yeah, it was just, like, what a horrific, and over a multi-day period too, like, he had a chance to, like, reset and figure out a better way to answer some of these things, and, like, the second day was almost, like, worse than the first.
it's this guy. If I was Sheila Ford Hamp, like he comes back and he sits in the office, it's like, dude, leave. Like, leave. See ya. Can I go to the draft? Absolutely fucking not. Just get out of here. Like, what do you want, dude? Like, it was an embarrassment to I'll be honest, because he just kept saying things and it was
It
like,
was
dude,
brutal.
I don't care what he said. Like the whole thing about like with the precedent with Barry Sanders, like, okay, dude, you didn't need to people forgot about it and then you bring it up again. Like, oh my God. If that's the way that you do business, cool. I don't have a problem with it. Like that's the way it is. Like, to be honest, like I'm not feeling sorry for a player who retired and said, "All right, got to pay back your bonus." What's his bonus? Like 300 grand, maybe. Like, okay, sweet. He's the guy who agreed to a pro-rated bonus, so that's what you kind of live with the consequences. I get that. All the players getting all pissed off. It's like, dude, shut up. Like, shut up. Like, Alex Anzalone, like I'm getting sick of him. He's
Oh
he
my god,
pissing me off.
I know, I thought I was done listening to
He just never
Lions stuff,
shuts up.
but
Like, I don't care what Anzalone has to say. I really don't care what Alex Anzalone has to say. Maybe this is the reason that he is, and maybe that was the reason why the Lions looked a little bit different last year. And I think there was a leadership issue and culture issue in terms of like certain players being. I think older players were too verbose, and I think that's why they went to a younger roster. That's my opinion. I think
yeah,
guys like
honestly, I think you're onto something with the locker room, especially with how the comment that Dan Campbell made that you mentioned. Um, because yeah, I think there probably is some entitlement in there for sure, and then a combination of when they are paying like Alex Anzalone, for example. Like forget the core players like Panay and St. Brown and everyone that's already gotten paid. He was definitely pissed off that the Lions paid Derek Barnes. So yeah, I think there and a lot of that's natural, and you just kind of got to address it as it comes up, or I think it was really for a long time. I think it was pretty evident when they didn't give him what would it have been the third deal because they already extended him the second time, whenever that
right,
was, and then he was mad going into this past season because he was playing on his final year and he wanted, I think, basically another extension. I think once the Lions just gave like I forget exactly they gave him like a very small increase or whatever it was.
yeah,
Um,
it
yeah,
was just a little.
once they weren't willing to really do anything more than just like getting them for the season, it was very obvious, really, all last season that this was going to be his last year. So they clearly weren't dying to bring him back. With even just you could maybe even go even further back than that when they re-signed Derek Barnes. As I said, that probably you already have Jack Campbell, who they probably would have said at that time they think he's going to progress into a guy that they want to keep. And then you re-sign Derek Barnes. Are you really going to pay three linebackers? Because Alex Anzalone's still a good player. He all things equal, if he wasn't gonna, if he would have taken some massive discount, like I'm sure the Lions would have brought him back. But yeah, I think the writing has been on the wall for a while with him. But just going back, closing my thoughts on the Rod Wood thing, I am relieved that that was hopefully at least the glass 10% full, because that really was horrendously brutal. The whole, really the whole thing. Specifically, just all the comments with the Frank Ragnow thing, because that really is like, from a public perception standpoint, that's just like unanimously everyone says the Lions look terrible in this situation. So, you said it was embarrassing with how he was talking about it. I agree. And I'm just relieved that he did mention, because the president's search has maybe gone on a little bit longer than I would have thought, but I think he did say it was April is maybe a realistic time to start bringing in candidates and trying to get it done. So hopefully we're done with Rod Wood, and hopefully we get Mike Disner, and that could be honestly like a grand slam hire for the Lions.
You know what's funny is Alexander Blunt has deleted his tweets about it. So there you go.
Well, that
I
wouldn't be
don't.
the first time he deleted tweets.
He's a known
A month ago or whatever.
he's a known tweet deleter, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. I don't have any. I got to be honest. The whole situation from Docker to what Rod Wood said, like total bad publicity for Detroit. And Brad
In
Holmes,
an
Dan
off
Campbell.
season where there's like fans are already all pissed off about everything.
Well, you can't control the fans. They're always going to be
Right.
pissed off and upset. But what you can
But we
control
didn't
is
need this.
what you can control is your stupid team president not saying stupid shit. That's number one. Number two, your tackle that was your tackle last year being upset and talking to Justin Rogers. Full good credit for Justin Rogers to get that interview. But damn, like it's just like it. First of all, I didn't like. I told you I don't like the Decker stuff, but I didn't like the Rod Wood stuff either because he just shut up. Like shut up.
I
You
guess
know, Brent.
one more thing on the Taylor Decker thing. I just it is like he brings out a guy, like he has a reporter come all the way out there, like Why didn't you just take the pay cut and play on the line? Like he's clearly and I've talked about this on my channel or my Twitter. Like I don't get it. Like it's almost why didn't you just play on the team then, dude? Like if you were gonna be incredibly bothered by like basically every last detail of this, I think it just would have been better served to just retire or play at the line like for 1 year because we did like honestly the Lions even giving him the extension when he didn't come anywhere close to fulfilling it out like that was, can we have 1 year where you just take like you've been on our team like you said like this has been such a great experience with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell like then just play on the team at our terms for 1 year like you're so incredibly bothered by this I just all of it doesn't make I hate to go back to it but it just thinking about just the Justin Rogers element of it's like well clearly he's unbelievably bothered by this still so it just adds more layers to the confusion for me this I just I don't get it, but I digress. We can move on.
We're never gonna get it, and honestly, it's interesting, but whatever. It's this whole thing is just ridiculous. But we got to go on to our mock draft because this is going to be the most interesting part of the whole thing. We're doing a live mock draft, so if you're not familiar with the way things go, when we'll discuss the first round pick, James will get the second round pick. We'll kind of we'll alternate picks and see what we come up with, but that will shine.
What's the man? I loved it. The draft is great.
I love the draft, and I think the fun thing about the draft though is like it's not the draft. Well, it is a draft, but it's all the dumbass opinions that come from people. I love the dumbass opinions that come from people. The people that are like, this guy is a certified star, and then you turn around 2 years later, the guy's a certified bum. My favorite. I love when these draft experts that are self-proclaimed draft experts that never really scouted in any capacity are like, I love this fifth round pick so much. It's like
every single draft pick's compared to like a Hall of Famer.
My favorite though is
everyone's amazing.
My favorite though is the white and black thing. Okay, a white wide receiver. They're like, this guy is Danny Amendola. It's like, no, he's kind of like a Hines Ward, like a total badass. Like it is what it is. Say what it is. Like when Christian McCaffrey came out, you know who they compared him to? Toby Gerhart.
Oh, come on.
What, dude?
That's horrible. That's horrible.
You just picked a random white guy from Stanford to just he's like Toby Gerhart.
Nothing like his play style at all.
Nothing. You could you could have even said he's a high mortar Danny White, a Woodhead. I don't care.
He said he's a workhorse and just like a great teammate or something.
They said Toby Gerhart. I was like, what the hell? No, he's not. I think it was like, oh God. Or was the one that made me laugh my ass off was a couple years ago when Cooper DeJean came out as a corner. They were like, he's ESPN was froze. They were like, I don't know who to compare him to. Like, who do I compare him to? He's They didn't even know. They didn't even compare him to anybody. Like, I didn't see no comparisons. Like, usually you see comparisons. Like, NFL.com will do it once in a while. They'll be like, this guy is like Kirby Joseph. Okay, cool. This guy is like this, and you're like, I could see it with Cooper DeJean.
I'll one up you on at least people like everyone knew who Cooper DeJean was when the Lions drafted Giovanni Manu. Like no one even knew who. Like half the people on TV didn't even know who it was. Like the producers didn't have anything on them.
They didn't even have a picture of him.
That's even worse. And they're like, the Lions took this guy and stuff.
Well, it goes back to when this is a Red Wings example, but when the Red Wings selected Mo Sider, the NHL draft experts were like, "What?" And you're like, well, I hope this pans out. We're picking a German kid, like his name is Sider. Like, okay, actually did work out, but the point is simple. Like, draft is funny because everyone has opinions, and it's funny because I don't think most people really pay attention to their opinions and like I love the people. I think every player is going to be great. Like there's one guy that I used to talk to or used to know, and he would always be like, he'd pick out some random guy from like the fourth round. You're like, who the hell is this? Did you watch this guy? Like Bo Bo Naylor or something. I'm like, that's a baseball player. Like, what are we talking about? Like, and it's just funny. So I'm gonna put this up here. We're gonna put it on the screen, to share the screen for the mock draft. We'll go through it. So obviously, you see it on the screen. It's good to go. But we'll actually put it on this. We'll enlarge it for certain things. But when you look at it, like obviously we're gonna care for positional value. This is all the settings just so people know. And if you're listening on the podcast, let's go to YouTube. This will be clipped up for people. So that's what we're gonna do. We're not picking for no one else. We're doing 7 rounds of picks for Detroit Lions football. Good to go. So, James, any last words?
With like what the first like 16 picks go.
What?
I am interested like how it shapes out before the Lions. Because
We'll go through that. Let's go through that. So let's enter the draft. Let's see where we are. Let's go for the first round. Let's go pick by pick, not pick by pick. We'll start slow. So Mendoza, Baines, Styles, but Malgo. All right, we might get some people. All right, we get to pick 17. Yeah, Monroe Freeling. Freeling's off the board at where is he at 11 for the Dolphins. Are the Dolphins going to make a smart pick? Probably.
That would be a smart pick for once for the Dolphins.
But the Dolphins don't make smart. This is a total Browns pick.
They got a new regime now. Maybe they're going to do the opposite now.
I just love this because some teams do.
Arvell Reese, man, the Giants pass.
Do they need another guy like that? Probably not. But it is what it is.
Maybe they trade Thibodeau and just like we're gonna get Arvell Reese and just
you can't get a more Browns pick than Carnell Tate. You just really can't.
They're gonna do that, honestly.
David Bailey to
Downs, if the Browns want to take Caleb Downs.
That'd be funny if they just
guy like they're just all defense anyway. Like let's quadruple down on defense.
It's funny because the Saints get Caleb Downs. The kid from Oregon goes to Washington. David Bailey goes to the Kansas City Chiefs, which is actually a pretty good pick. I'd like that for them.
Yeah.
Mekhi Lemon goes to Dallas, which would be a total Dallas pick to get a wide receiver who's let's check the stats. 5'11". Cool. Wow. Jeremiah Love to the LA Rams.
Wow.
Oh man, that'd be I would hate that.
I think he's gonna go like in the top 10. I think. At least that's
why.
Like. But we'll see. Honestly, I was thinking about actually the Rams today. They're like they just played the draft so well last year with getting the extra pick and then using it to get Trent McDuffie and then still having a top 13 pick. So that's almost like a free spin pick for them. So like I could see them picking like an amazing offensive weapon.
So we get to pick 14. Mesidor goes to Baltimore. Caden Sadiq is going to be a teammate of Alex Anzalone and Al-Quadin Muhammad. Cool. Keep him.
Yeah.
And then we get to Detroit's pick 17th overall. Spencer Fennell is on the board. Aoni is on the board. Kendrick Falk is on the board.
This is a good man.
So when you look at Spencer Fennell, 0 sacks allowed last year. He's primarily a right tackle. So if you wanted to move Sewell to the left side, you could do that. And then his gap grade's good. His pass block is good. Obviously, 0 sacks, 0 hits, 5 hurries. That's pretty freaking good. I don't think. And then if you go to Aoni, I mean, these are the 2 picks I think we should go with, to be honest, because it is what it is. So, I mean, James, what do you think we should do for the first pick?
Honestly, I think Fanu could easily be the pick there. I mean, I like the guard, obviously, Ione, but I think they would probably prefer a tackle if he's in the same caliber of player. There's a couple other like McCoy's interesting just because I could see him going higher. I mean, there's some some good play. Could you like scroll down a couple more picks? Like who do we got at like 20 to 25 again? Oh yeah, you got the Toledo. Like Falk could be definitely a fit. Um, McNeil Warren is a really good player. Blake Miller. Oh man. I think for me it's probably between Fano and uh who is that? Who go? Yeah, man, probably
Aoni.
between Anu, Ione, and maybe a couple others, but I think tackle makes sense here, so I'll
Okay.
go Fano.
So we're gonna go with tackle here for the first pick of the Detroit Lions. First pick at 17. Now he kind of fell to us, so we'll take it because this is the best player on the board. That's a Brad Holmes special. So
That's kinda my thought process too.
yeah, we'll go there and boom. So James is gonna get pick 50. So he will get the chance to um, make the pick at 50. We get to 50.
Cassius Hall go to the Eagles. That's a very Eagles pick. I could see that.
So we get to 50.
Wow, here we go with all these guys.
There's some good players on the board. Derek Moore is on the board. This kid really intrigues me, but his run stop rate is not that great. But we like what's Jackus is the guy that a lot of Lions people like. 12 sacks last year, 7 hits, 22 hurries. A lot of people that say, "Oh, let's get Malachi Lawrence," but you look at his run stop rate, not really a great thing for Detroit. Um, He's a 3-4 linebacker, but has inconsistencies in both strengths and weaknesses and may harm him in a flash player role. So it is what it is. But you could see most drafted by the Cowboys. That's what people are doing. And let's go through who was drafted ahead of him. Like obviously, Zion Young went to Miami. Keontae Scott, the kid from Miami, goes to Atlanta, which they just debuted their uniforms. Did you see those new uniforms?
I did, yeah. They kinda looked like the Cardinals' new uniforms, I thought.
I that's exactly what I said.
Yeah,
What a
they're
joke.
okay, like, I guess they're the same color scheme, but, they're whatever.
So
Nothing too
our
crazy
Mason
about
Thomas
that.
is another guy. He has explosive background. He has a track background, so he has really good things. But smaller guy, 249, not really what the Lions. But you look at it, 6 sacks, 3 hits, 19 hurries. Not nothing that you really scoff at and go, okay, that's great. But it is what it is.
Is this like, Gabe Jackus again?
Yep.
His profile, what's his, so he okay, so he's I think the height and weight is definitely kind of
A
in
lot.
line with what they look for.
Yep.
Um, I mean, I saw I actually was reading some stuff about him today. I think you're right. The Jennings Dunker, if we would have went like defensive line in the first round, and like maybe that's a guy the Lions would like. Good
This
playmaker
kid's this
there.
kid's
Yeah,
interesting. The
yeah.
wide receiver. What's another guy that Joshua Stevens? This kid's pretty good too, but the problem is he's 240. He's a six. He's a kind of like a your tweener. Um, this kid, another guy, could potentially be a Lions type pick. Run stop rate's pretty good. 8 sacks, okay, pretty good. Um, oh, I was gonna say this because I think this is the most important thing. This was a guy I kind of figured would be like a guy that could potentially take over when Dave Montgomery got traded. I said maybe this guy could take him. I don't know if you want to draft him here, but it's your pick, James.
I'm not taking a running back in the second round,
Yep.
even though that is a intriguing player for sure. Um, I think I kind of had my mind set up early on this when I saw who was available. Oh, wow, go click on Kyle Lewis right there. That's, I mean, I really, really like Kyle Lewis. I
Yeah.
think he is a very versatile player. He's a he's a kinda almost like I think he has a lot of traits that the Lions like. He's a ball hawk, but also, brings a lot of versatility to the table as well. Man, I actually really like him. But I think I have my mind made up here. Go to the top of the list, play the little draft jingle for me too, if you got
Oh, we
that.
forgot to do it at the first
Yeah, I
pick. Damn
know.
it.
We ruined it with the 50th pick in this mock draft. The Detroit Lions select edge rusher Gabe Jackas from
Oh,
Illinois.
all right.
Bang.
So we're getting to the Lions pick. I
So we
think with
kind
the
of did.
first.
We kind of went with what I think a lot of fans hope or think in terms of, maybe some people would have wanted the other way around, but getting an edge rusher and getting a tackle. I mean, you could have the starter at tackle, and you could have maybe a starter at edge rusher, but certainly a guy that could be in the rotation to get some production for you at that spot.
All right. So we get to pick
Yeah, this
118.
is your pick. You're taking over now for the next
Yeah.
couple.
Yeah. We get to pick 118. Some guys that were taken off the board that I like. Deontay Lawson. I like. He was taken by the Giants. Giants are getting a lot of good players. Damn it. Got Overton went to the Patriots. Nussmeyer went to Garrett Nussmeyer to the LA Rams. Is like,
Wow.
what the hell is that? What was
A bad quarterback draft, but like Ty Simpson's gonna go.
Jay Sean Barham went to
Very
Jacksonville.
low.
Rashawn Benny went to the Chicago Bears. Just some Michigan players right there. Malachi Fields went to the Dolphins. Interesting. But right before Detroit, obviously, McClellan went to Vegas. I always say Oakland. Damn it. Takario Davis. I always get his name. It's weird. He went to Baltimore. The Notre
Oh,
Dame guard.
Stribling a couple of picks right before. That guy's a incredible returner and athlete. This guy.
Yeah, look at his
Great
contested catch
athlete.
rate. That's some crazy shit right there. Holy shit. 44%. It's pretty good. So I look at this right here and I'm like, okay, I like Malik Muhammad. He's all right, but he's a corner, whatever. The guy I locked that in on is obviously Bud Clark. I think this guy is going to be a legit player.
You
Especially
had
with
him in one of your other mock drafts you did, I think.
I know, and it's kind of like let's go through and see what else we got here because it's going to be interesting. Makil Kamara, this kid, we picked the edge rusher, but he's a bigger guy. You can see that.
Tyreek Sapp.
Yeah, that's he's good, but man, he's a little bit raw to be honest, and he's a bigger guy, stout rotational run defender. He kind of reminds me of like a Josh Pascal without the pass rush so far. So it is what it is. God, there's some good players on the board. Bo Stevens, I like this one.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Marlon Klein. All right, we got some players on the board. But here's what I'm gonna do, James, because I can't sit here and say I wouldn't take Bud Clark. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take Bud Clark. So the pick is in.
I like it.
So with pick 118 in the Lions mock draft on Detroit Lions News podcast, the Detroit Lions have selected Bud Clark. And then there we go.
Heck of a pick.
And we get to pick 128, which is James's pick. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to zoom in on the screen.
Pretty quick after our next one. I like that.
We get to Bo Stevens on board.
Yeah, I like
Jack Andrews is on the board. Jalen Kilgore, which he's terrible in zone. Brian Parker's. You're not going to draft double tackle. I don't think you're going to do that. Contested catch for Reggie Virgil from Texas Tech. Bryce Botcher from look at his missed tackle rate. Ugh, disgusting. Marlon Klein. This kid's another off the wall pick. This is the kid that Detroit had in as a visit.
That's right. Yeah.
Here's that Dalen Bentley. And then you have Nick Singleton, my boy Nadeem Tucker.
Yeah, that was gonna say. Yeah.
Austin Barber, Le'Veon Moss, Max Llewellyn. But his run stop rate is disgusting, so it is what it is. So with the pick Is there a position that you have in mind?
Not really right here. I am prone to going defense just because I feel like once we get tackle, there's not a lot of like you're talking about. Maybe you want to get a running back at some point. You can always maybe draft one receiver a draft. I know a lot of people kind of think that. A tight end certainly could be a position that they could draft at some point. But you know what? Give me some action. I need some grit on this team. I need some guy with a lot of
Oh my
underdog.
gosh.
I need a lot of underdog, like no one believes in me type of mentality. And this is a round that is always underutilized for MAC players because really, if Nadeem Tucker played on, if the Western Michigan logo was a
Ohio
Michigan
State logo?
State or yeah, who like pick your Power Four team, he'd probably be at least another round or so up. I could say the same thing about a lot of guys. Max Crosby, Harold Fannin last year, even like guys that go in the first round, like Quinyon Mitchell probably would have went a little higher because there's always corners now that get
So
taken in the
I
top 10. So
I
add
imagine the
add to the
I
pack.
imagine the pick is in.
Yes. The 128th pick in the NFL draft, the Lions get another pass rusher from Western Michigan. Tucker is coming to the Lions.
So let's look at Tucker. This is why he jumped off the page with me. Okay, we're gonna put it on full screen so people can see it. Look at that run stop rate, 9.3, and then look at the sacks, 14 sacks, 6 hits, 41 hurries. This guy obviously played outside tackle, was just absolutely fantastic. Had good games against Michigan State, Illinois.
This
Obviously he played.
was this was a dominant defense in the MAC that they won the MAC championship because the defense was so good. And they've had
Look,
a lot of high level coaches go through there. I'm blanking on some of the names, but didn't their defensive coordinator, I believe, just get hired to be the defensive coordinator
yes,
with the
yes,
Rams or but like they've had their previous defensive coordinator who I think went to Michigan.
yep.
I mean they and again, this is a guy that he was the difference between like Western Michigan being a program that really has not been able to get over the hump in a long time and has just been kind of like a ever since PJ Fleck left, just kind of a really not even really a sound bowl team every year. And now they turned into a team that got to Detroit and was really for all year the best team in the conference. And this is a guy that's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder and probably more talented than where he's getting drafted. And he's adding to the pass rush, which is a desperate need. And he's a complete player, as you said. He can. There's no worry of him going out there. Now he's probably needs some more development like anyone, but he can defend the run and he can develop into a really good three-down player for the Lions.
See, people are they're gonna say, "Well, he's from the MAC," and I'm gonna say, last year Harold Fannin from Bowling Green, which Mr. James would be very upset if you criticize Bowling Green in any missing. You're just like Bowling Green slander will not we're not tolerating that shit here.
Here's another perfect example to what I'm saying too. Cassius Howell in this draft spent 3 years at Bowling Green, transferred to Texas A&M, and now he's going to go in the first round. If he still played at Bowling Green, I kind of doubt he would be a first round pick. So he'd probably be in the mid second round, maybe early third round. So different player. Like he's more of just a pure like
But
he doesn't grade
okay,
out well against the run. He's more of a pure pass rusher, but I think you can get some real value with MAC players in the middle rounds because some of these like they really would be higher hyped if they were power four players, which a lot of these guys like Harold Fannin could have played on any team in the country, but he was a very rare guy that was going to stay at Bowling Green because he loved Scott
we can
Loeffler.
we can agree to
So
this, okay? If Nadeem Tucker was wearing a Buckeye helmet or a Michigan helmet or let's say an Illinois helmet, he would not be here right now.
at
That's
least a
just
little bit higher, without question.
so James is gonna take Nadeem Tucker, which I fully endorse. What a great pick by James right there. We've doubled down on pass rushers. We've doubled down on pass
Which is
rush.
what I hope the Lions do. It's a strategy I hope that plays out.
So the next pick is for me at 157. Isaiah Rolled went, Marlon Klein went before, which hurts me. And honestly, like I look at this, Cade Klubnik went to Cleveland. They're going to collect more quarterbacks. Awesome.
Unbelievable.
Bo Stevens to Arizona. Interesting.
Good pick by them.
Le'Veon Moss to Tennessee, which is an interesting pick. Bentley went to the Jets. All right, that's kind of figures out to me. So I look at the draft board, James, and I got to be honest with you. Something just speaks to me right here. Obviously, we know Nick Singleton is just a bruiser, loves to hit people. Look at his size, 6 foot, 224. He's not really the most elusive player, but I could tell you this right now, James. If we are going to get, obviously Pacheco is going to be there, right? So that's it is what it is. But if I could say my backfield is going to be locked down for the next 2 years, you probably would take it. So I look at this mock draft and I go, okay, Nick Singleton, very interesting. I look at a guy like Devon Marshall. I mean, he's pretty good in zone. Completion percentage is pretty low. This could be a guy that, look at that, forced incompletion, second in the whole college football. Interesting. That's kind of interesting. I didn't even expect that. Katron Allen, another bruising guy. Look at his gap attempts. He's obviously someone who can run in this thing, and he's 219 as well. So there's ample opportunity for you to get a run back. Jeremiah Wright, DJ Campbell. You know what? I don't know, James. Let's just talk about this for a minute.
I don't mind. This is in the range now where I don't hate taking a running back. Like if there's someone that the Lions really like at, pick 150 plus, like I don't think that's, and you think, they gave Isaac Pacheco a 1 year, $1.8 million deal. Like,
yeah, so pretty much you would say
around that somewhat like they could compete and get real, maybe 5+ carries a game.
So pretty much what you're saying is, okay, after Pacheco leaves, I have my run backs locked down for the next couple of years, which is interesting. And then there's also an interesting point here where you go corner, you get a guy like Devin Marshall with all the Arnold situation and Ennis Rakestraw. That could be the potential thing. But the ACC players are really freaking me out, to be honest. I gotta be completely honest with you. But obviously, you look at Nick Singleton, pretty good. Obviously, he's not your prototypical guy, but yards per attempt 4.4. He receives the ball. I mean, he's more of a. I mean, Katron Allen's more of a guy like Dave Montgomery, to be honest. So not many targets though, so he wasn't been the thing. So this is gonna be.
How did he grade out in pass? Does he have like pass blocking on there at all?
No. But Katron Allen
that'd probably be an interesting.
Katron Allen is
someone that had a decent.
When I looked at it, Singleton was worse in pass blocking. So if that makes any decisiveness, kind of makes it there. But then you look at Eli, the kid from
yeah, I mean tight end too in this range could be
Notre Dame, 6'7",
wow,
252. Obviously, he's not a true number one guy, but you don't need a true number one guy. You got Sam Laporta. I know people wanted to, there's certain people that want to trade him, but whatever. Here's what I'm going to do. To be a total, to make a safe pick, maybe we can get a run back later in the draft. I'm going to go Devin Marshall from NC State. So
I don't hate it.
With the 157th pick in the Detroit Lions podcast, mock draft, the Detroit Lions select Devin Marshall. Now, hopefully I can't get mad at this pick. 5th round pick. I think there's some value here. We'll pick him. So we go on. So there's 181, which is going to be you. 205 is going to be me. 213 is going to be you. So we got 4 picks left. Okay, cool. It works out pretty. So we get to 180.
All right.
Some good players available.
Tackle, another running back, couple other running backs, edge.
Yep.
Really could go. Ooh. Oh, scroll down a little bit. Stop right there. I don't need to see anything more. With the 181st pick in the Detroit Lions News podcast mock draft, the Detroit Lions select Tanner Koziel, tight end, Houston, formerly of Ball State. Huge target, red zone threat.
I knew you were going to go there.
Another, we just signed Conklin, who I really like, but now we have another cheap, controllable tight end, 6'7". This guy can catch the ball. Throw it up to him, anywhere near him, he's going to come down with the ball.
Look at that contested catch rate. Holy shit.
His run blocking, he really wasn't used as a run blocker in college at all. This was a guy that they just viewed as a true, vertical threat, huge tight end threat for sure, red zone threat for sure. But I think there's maybe some upside in his run blocking, just because it's not something that the teams he played on in college really had any use of trying to get out of him. They'd rather every snap in college, this guy was open just because they could throw it up to him, and he has really good hands, good body position. That would be I really would love the value there getting him. It's kind of like Eli, a cheaper Eli Stowers. He doesn't have quite the hype, obviously, as him. He won't go as high, but there's a lot of similar production you could get out of him.
And I like that one, to be honest, because I honestly would have picked the same thing, to be honest, if we're going to be completely honest with each other. Because I don't know, dude. I like him as a tight end. I think he's one of my top tight ends we could draft. I like Marlon Klein too because of his run blocking skill, but you can't really shake a stick at Tanner Koziel, because when you look at Koziel, when you look at what his contested catch rate was, 74.1%, which is off the Richter scale, only dropped 2 passes out of 74 targets. 94 targets. So that's hella good. 6 touchdowns, 9.8 yards per reception. He played a lot in the slot. He's a guy who could potentially be another wide receiver. So
he can be. He can line up.
Tight end, wide receiver.
He's more than talented enough to line up. And that's why his run blocking, that he'd line up in the slot more than he would line up. Maybe not quite as much, but he was a guy that they viewed kind of as another wide receiver more than they viewed him as a blocking tight end. I think on day one, he's a NFL red zone threat, and you hope that he can develop into some blocking skills. And he already has the versatility to line up in the slot as well.
And I like the pick from your perspective, because if you think about it from this perspective, James, look at Conklin is a good pass catcher, but can block for run block. Brock Wright, if he stays, he's pretty good. Laporta is a good run blocker. You have a lot of opportunities to get better, and this guy can catch passes. So if he's your second,
that's a good point. He's a great complement to what they have in the room, and I think there's a lot of upside with him. And
especially if you want to do this, you want to do these sets that Arizona has ran with Petzing. If you really want a guy who could pretty much be the yin and the yang to Conklin and Wright and Laporta, this guy's another guy. So that's actually a pretty good pick right there. So we get the pick 205. There's 3 picks remaining in the Detroit Lions News podcast draft. And it's interesting, James, because we get to this part of the draft, and it's okay, you look at the people on the board. There's Zane Durant, the kid from Penn State, big guy. Not the on-field production really hasn't transpired to what it was. You got Eli,
Michigan State guy, a couple spots.
Oh yeah. I'll get into that in a minute, because I think he could be the pick, to be honest. You got the Heidenreich kid who he could be a running back, a fullback. He's a Swiss Army knife type of player. He may lack top 100 traits, but his football IQ, toughness, and versatility make him. So
Wow.
that's kind of a
I
Dan
like the
Campbell pick.
profile of that kid, honestly.
Yeah, and then you look at like Cole Wisnowski, but we've already picked the guy so at safety. So I really don't think we need to do it there. You look at the guards, Inez Cooper, and not really that great. Gave up 1 sack, 2 hits, 9 hurries, zone grades. I mean, it's all right. I mean, he played right guard, but he's kind of locked into there. You look at Matt Golban, the guy I like, 2 sacks. His quarterbacks were a total ass, and I don't really think it was on him. 1 hit on the quarterback, 2 hurries, but I want you to look at his snaps by alignment. He played left guard, he played center, and he played right guard. So he is a
I
versatile
like that.
player,
Yeah, I like him.
versatile player. And look at that gap. He's good in gap scheme, good in run block, good in pass block. 6'4", 312. And I mean, they don't got anything on him because we get to this side of the draft. There really isn't anything there. This is a guy I like too, Skylar Gill Howard. He's a run stopper defender. But I'm not gonna overthink this. I'm gonna go Matt Golban because, like I said,
Solid.
guard, center, guard. He could play any position. So in my philosophy, if he could do that, I don't need a second center on the Lions. He could play center. He played at Michigan State. He played guard at Oregon State. Played the other side of guard at Oregon State. So this guy has
similar stature and build as Cade Mays too, like a taller 6'4".
Yeah.
It could be a guy that could learn pretty well from Cade Mays.
And honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, James. When I talk about Matt Golban and I talk about what he was able to do at Michigan State, I can't blame him for the offensive line sucking, and I can't blame him for the quarterbacks that he had, like Aiden Childs. I don't know what happened to him last year. Turned into a total pumpkin. Mahoyevich comes in. They look a little bit better, but they're still Michigan State because, Jonathan Smith is a total dweeb. Now
tackle, like the freshman tackle they had, I think could be good, but he was a freshman and he got hurt, I think.
Yeah. So it is what it is. So I'm gonna pick Matt Golban here. I'm not gonna overthink it. We picked a safety. Durant's kind of Heidenreich. We don't really need because
I mean we just did take a tight end that's kind of like fullback tight end.
Yeah. So I mean Lorenzo Styles is interesting too, but again, not much.
Wow, that is interesting. Yeah, there's some solid players here.
Yeah, I'll just go Matt Golban. That way we have the guard, so we have offensive line covered pretty much. So the rest of the draft, I mean, we have ample opportunities to go with best player available, in my opinion. So after this pick, the pick is in. Pick is in. There's the sounder. We're gonna pick Matt Golban. So there you go. That is the pick right there. So we get the James's pick.
Nice, I like that.
We get the James's pick, and there's some players that I kind of like. Xavier Thomas, this kid's pretty interesting. He's just a total. But if you sign Dortch, you're not going to get this kid. He's a kick returner guy. Desmond Reed.
Harold Perkins Jr. Isn't that a name?
If you want to take a shot at someone, this is the spot to take a shot at someone. So Harold Perkins is on there. Damani Jackson's on there. Nikowski's on there. Roman Hemby's on here. Bredeson's on here. We took a tight end, so that's not going to happen. So, James, where are you kind of leaning towards?
I like click on Skylar Gill Howard. I like potentially him.
That pass rush win rate is 14.4%, which is pretty good.
I mean,
his run stop rate is 11.7.
We could use another interior guy to throw in the mix. We didn't re-sign Roy Lopez. I think Levi Onwuzurike will play some snaps on the interior. I still, there's a couple of guys on here that I like. I mean, I like. Could you click on Harold Perkins? I'm just interested to see what it says about him.
So he had a rough year last year.
Didn't have a good year at all, really.
Perkins is a unique athlete without a clear positional fit due to his size and role. He projects as a situational defender and special teams contributor with designed pass rush use. So basically, if you can get him in the right scheme with the right coach, you can get the best out of him. And I
Yeah.
think you'd have to do the thing if you think Shep can do that. And I don't know. Jack Kelly is another one that kind of interests me, but
Ooh, yeah.
that missed tackle rate is
Yeah,
disgusting.
that's tough. The Lions wouldn't like that either.
No, and then
Andre
Andre.
Fuller's, yeah, I mean, he's solid. We did pick a corner.
Yeah, we did. If I would have knew he was going to be here, I would have picked him.
Yeah,
But
I mean, that'd be a good value pick, honestly, but, TJ
Roman Hemby's the
Watt.
guy I like with the
Oh,
whole.
yeah, yeah.
That's another guy who he's not a big, high explosive guy, but he's tough. 210, 6 foot. You look at his gap. Where is it? Gap grade right there, 77.7. Missed tackles forced. Look at that, 80. So that's pretty good. But it is what it is. So, what are you thinking on this?
I do like the idea of sticking on in the trenches. We checked off a lot of things on the list. I think getting a solid contributor on the interior defensive line makes a lot of sense. So I do like Skylar Gill-Howard here for the Lions with the 213th pick in the 2026 mock draft. The Detroit Lions select Skylar Gill-Howard, interior defensive lineman from Texas Tech.
So Skylar Gill-Howard, 14.4 pass rush win rate. He is a defensive tackle to the T. Run stop rate is 11.7, which I'm sure Dan Campbell loves. And this guy, he was a total beast in the games that he played. He really jumped off the charts. And look at 2024, 5 sacks, 7 hits, 17 hurries. He gets a lot of batted balls. So there you go. And that's who we're going to draft right there. So we get the pick 222. There's Harold Perkins still on the board. Holy crap. You got TJ Guy, you got Max Bredesen, you got there's some guys that are just okay, whatever. Taylor Green, I don't want him at all.
Taylor Green, yeah. Former Boise State quarterback.
Cole Payton, Luke Altmaier.
The Lions apparently like him.
Who?
I've seen some stuff that the Lions like Luke Altmaier. Haynes King, another guy that reportedly the Lions have some interest in potentially.
So here's the thing. At this pick, my boy Riley Nikowski is gone. He went to the Bengals. So that is a guy I like. But we already got a tight end, so it really don't matter to us. Roman Hemby is on the board. Let's see who they got at running back that could be on the board.
Chip Trayanum, wow.
Yeah, he's on the board.
He's a Ohio State transfer to Toledo, I think he was first team All-MAC after he transferred from Ohio State.
Not a big guy. He's a big guy. Good zone grade, good gap grade. He's not an elusive guy. He's not
a great athlete. He's more of a power guy.
Not gonna really wow you. CJ Donaldson's interesting from Ohio State, 10 touchdowns last year. He was a total bruiser last year, 6'2", 232. I don't know, James. Where do you think we should go? Because I venture to guess Harold Perkins would be a pretty good one. Andre Fuller would be a pretty good one. Roman Hemby would be a good guy.
Harold Perkins Jr. He gives us a James Houston rookie type season of 7-8 sacks, and he's a rookie phenom late in the draft.
So you would pick Harold Perkins. I like Roman Hemby, to be honest, but
I kind of like the linebacker too from BYU. Just as
his missed tackle rate's a little bit disgusting. But
yeah,
he's good in pass coverage. I'll look at that. 4 incompletions, but 78.1 complete. God dang. All right. So
a little bit of a trade-off there with him.
So here's the thing.
I like a lot of guys. I like a couple running backs. I like Andre Fuller. I think there's a lot of things the Lions could do this late in the draft too. It's kind of, which guy do you like the most?
So here's the thing. I like a lot of them. I like Harold Perkins.
I like a couple of the quarterbacks too, honestly.
a couple of the quarterbacks. I mean, like, you look at. Well, let's just go to quarterbacks, see who they got available because we see most of them. But Jalen Daniels is available. Cole Payton's available. Luke Altmaier, Haynes King. Oh, Joey Aguilar is available. Hell yeah. Miller Moss, he sucks. Which
Can you see if is Terrion Stewart available at running back?
Let's go see.
I'm interested to see where, like, if he even is.
Right there.
Oh, he's right there. Okay, yeah, I just was interested to see kind of where he ranked out. I mean, he's a real. I'd be interested to see. He's kind of like a little bit like a. I want to say he has some Kareem Hunt traits to him. I mean, this guy's a great athlete. He's not fast, but he's impossible to tackle. He has really good feet. I probably wouldn't take him with this pick, but
Undrafted free agent.
yeah, if he's available after the draft, or if the Lion, like, if they just loved them, but that'd be an intriguing guy. Is just a late round guy.
So we look at that. Let's look at some wide receivers, see if there's any wide receivers that we can see available. Lewis Bond is interesting. Damn, there's a lot of them. Oh, Donovan.
Barry Brown, is that the dude that's like the fastest guy ever?
Yep.
Rosters he offers. Yeah, I mean that guy's crazy fast. I mean, with getting Greg Dortch, that's kind of his role.
Yeah, it kind of plays a role in that. So the wide receiver really doesn't interest me. Edge rushers, Mike. Interesting one right here. Michael Heldman, the kid from Central, Mac guy. He had a good game against Michigan.
Yeah.
12 sacks, 5 hits on a quarter, 36 hurries. He's kind of an interesting pick there. You could go there. You can get the guy's Spencer Fano's brother, Logan.
Is that his brother?
Yeah, it's his brother.
Wow.
And then you got Hubbard. You got there's some really good edge rushers that you can get, but you can get them as undrafted free agents, to be honest. Any linebackers available? Harold Perkins. Jimmy Rolder's interesting. Again, all undrafted guys. So here's what I'm gonna do. James has talked me into a corner, and I think I'm gonna go with Harold Perkins. So the pick is in.
Let's go.
With the 222nd pick in the Detroit Lions podcast mock draft, the Detroit Lions select Harold Perkins from LSU. And James, I'm only doing this because, well, let's be honest. If he hits, he hits. He's a late pick.
20 picks left in the draft. Like I think it would be a well worth gamble.
So
Brett Holmes' alley.
So we did a good job.
Oh, we came home with a haul. A- overall grade they gave us. We crushed this draft.
Holy shit, we did crush this draft. My God.
Because I think it said on the bottom A-. Like if you keep scrolling down, overall draft grade A-. I mean, we dominated.
Damn, and there wasn't a pick that they didn't like except Kozel they didn't like, but we could have got an A+. Damn it, James.
I ruined it with the Kozel. Hey, he's gonna get 4 touchdowns, including a game winner, and we'll dunk on him with receipts after the season.
So let's go through the first round draft picks. So interesting, Caden Proctor went to the 49ers. Blake Miller went to the Buffalo Bills. TJ Parker went to the Dolphins. The pick after us, Emmanuel McNeil Warren went to the Chargers, which is a good pick. McCoy went to the Panthers. Falk went to the Cowboys. And Ione went to division rival Minnesota Vikings. So there you go. But it was I think that we did a damn good job with this draft, to be honest. Full results, you look in the second round. I mean, after we picked Jackus, Malachi Lawrence went after pick 51. Green Bay picked Eli Stowers, the tight end. Interesting. Eagles picked Jeremy Bernard. I thought that was an interesting pick right there.
Seems
49ers
like an
got
Eagles pick.
Jadarian Price went to, the running back I liked. He went to the 49ers. And then you look at it like Derek Moore went to Houston, which is a total Houston pick. Josiah Trotter went to Kansas City. Gennings Dunker went to the Dolphins. Interesting. Jake Slaughter, who obviously the Vikings, their center, he just retired, so they went center in the draft, and they got Jake Slaughter, which is interesting. We went over some of the picks that were happening before us, but after we picked with Detroit at pick 118, they said we should have picked Jonah Coleman, the running back from Washington, and he's a bigger kind of guy, so he could be, but he went to Green Bay. So if we made the wrong pick, we're going to see him a lot. So there you go. But overall, I thought this was a really good draft for us.
We addressed a lot of needs. I think we got some starters potentially, or definitely some contributors at the top of the draft. I mean, if the tackle at 17, whoever it is, we went with Spencer Fano.
Yep.
I mean, if the rookie tackle is like startable for the Lions and ends up being one of those, even if it's like we were talking about at the start of the show, like a Taylor Decker type rookie year that he had, I think the Lions are in business with this roster because they kind of will have checked. I mean, they'd be set on the offensive line going forward. You'd have Sewell, whoever you drafted, Ratledge, Mays, and then, if Mahogany, if at the end of the year that's the position you need to readdress, okay, that's really easy to do. They'd be in really good position on the offensive line for the future, which means, and really the rest of their offense is in pretty good position. So that could really mean that they could, for all the great players really that they have on offense, and this is, we talked about all offseason, this for all the mistakes and things that went wrong last year, it was still a top 5 offense. The defense isn't quite there yet. So, use this first round pick, secure the offensive line. The Lions could then be in a position to really start hammering down the defense. And, maybe a year from now, this defense looks, a lot different than what maybe some Lions fans have some concerns about right now. You might be muted.
They mocked us on the whole Tanner Kozol pick, but every pick we picked, Spencer Fano was 12th on their big board. We got him at 17. Jackus was 51 on their big board. We got him at 50. Bud Clark, 117 on PFF big board. We got him at 118. Nadeem Tucker, 148, but we got him at 128. So that's realistically really good pick. Even Devin Marshall, 151 on their board. We got at 157. So we drafted really good. Even Matt Golban, 203 on their board. We got 205. Skylar Gill Howard was 212 on their board. We got 213. Harold Perkins is 221. We got at 222, round 7. So what a good draft. And I think if this is the draft, this would be a really good draft because not only do you get an edge rusher in Jackus, but you get an edge rusher in Tucker. You get a cornerback in Marshall. Goldman is a guy who could be all over the offensive line. Spencer Fano plays right tackle. He can go right into right tackle. No Larry Borum. Skylar Gill Howard's a run-stopping defender, has some pass rush ability. Cool. And Harold Perkins is a complete wild card. Like he could be someone that you just put in pass rush situations, kind of like a Yannick Ngakoue or someone like a James Houston, like you said, and that could be huge too. So overall, that draft is pretty damn good, and I think we're gonna live with that. I think that was a really good draft, and it couldn't go any better for this live mock draft that we had. So what a time we had on the Lions mock draft. Obviously, the draft is a couple weeks away, 3 weeks away.
Almost about 3 weeks away. Maybe exactly. Does it start on a Friday or does it start on a
Thursday?
It starts on a Thursday. So
yeah.
Maybe it's 20 days away. Maybe then.
Yeah. So we'll do another live mock draft before the draft, but this was our live mock draft. So we'll put this on the YouTube for people to go and look at. Obviously, they can go do whatever they need to do. We'll put the graphic up too. And I came away really happy with this draft, so I can't be more excited. So, you got any parting thoughts, James?
I do. I'm gonna change the subject a little bit, but some breaking, because I want to get your thoughts on this. Some breaking hockey news here. Just a live update. Oh wow! As they just someone scored again. So not the Red Wings are tied with 5 minutes to go in the first period against the Flyers. But some good news. The Carolina Hurricanes lead the Columbus Blue Jackets 3-0 in the first period, which I believe means if the and also another team, the Bruins,
They're
are
losing 2-0.
losing 2-0 to the Panthers. The Penguins are tied, and the Senators are tied against the Sabres. But if I think the Hurricanes lose and the Red Wings win, we might be in a playoff spot at the end of the night potentially. What are
Um,
your yes or no? Do the Detroit Red Wings make the playoffs this season?
well, we're out of March, so yeah, I think that the
Wow,
March if they got out of March unscathed and they're right there, so
unscathed.
they're right in they're right in the mix, man.
Okay, I love it. I love it. I want to. I'm trying to go to the if it's still results determined. If honestly, if we just lose tonight, I may just be done with it. But I kind of want to go to the. I think we play the Blue Jackets next week.
Yeah.
I haven't been to a Red Wings game this year. That could be that could be like for the playoffs potentially.
I'm done going to those pivotal games because I went to the Washington game a couple years ago. Remember they lost 2-1 or something like that. I
Oh
was like,
man.
and then the worst part about it was the people in front of us. They were Capitals fans. I'm like, I've
Oh,
never
man.
heard of Capitals fans. Like, what the hell is
Brutal.
this? So then the next time I was like, you know what? F it. I'm gonna go to the Canadians game too,
Was
which
that the
was
one? Was that the
with this,
crazy one?
yeah. And
I
I
was
was
at
like,
that game too. That was the only
yeah.
game I went to that season. Unbelievable. That was like the greatest game ever.
When Gothisbehere went
Yeah.
full Air Jordan, I was like,
Jumped up and caught it.
what
That game was
the
unreal. They
hell
were
is
down like
happening? But
and they were down
yeah,
like 4-0 or 4-1
yeah.
or something. It was
Hopefully,
crazy.
I'm hoping that the Red Wings pick it up. That'd be cool to have the Red
You
Wings in
gotta
the
win
playoffs,
tonight.
Tigers in the
You gotta
playoffs,
win tonight.
Pistons obviously in the playoffs. Lions could get to the playoffs this year. I think off our draft, James, that we kind of put them into the playoff mix. So
I hope so.
this is going to be
Yeah,
good.
the Lions. I guess my parting thoughts: the Lions are definitely going to the playoffs this year, and we're gonna win hopefully 11 plus games and win the division. But I'm confident, regardless, not regardless of how this draft goes, but I think the draft will do well in the draft. I really think this is a playoff team for the Lions this coming year. I feel very, very strongly about it.
At this point, I do agree with you that they're a playoff team. I can't disagree with that at all. And I think people need to take a step back and just go where it goes. You know what I'm saying? So I think the Lions will be really good. I don't. Everyone that's over panicking. I mean, even Bleacher Report ranked them the sixth best roster in the NFL.
Top 7 roster for sure. Any
So
any sports book has them as the division favorite, and
just follow.
odds
I,
like 10 to 11 wins, like minimum is what the odds are right now.
I
I get
implore
people
people.
could point to it. Oh, weren't they actually on opening day? They weren't the favorite to win the division last year. Green
Here's
Bay
what
was, and it went.
every
It was kind of a worse. Our over under was at what 9.5, I think, last year. Kind of with the
yeah.
schedule, and they won 9 games, and it was they had 8 with 4 to go. It was kind of accurate. So if it's somewhat accurate this year, it'd probably mean the Lions win 10, 11 games, and in that case, probably win the division, especially with some of the schedule. I'm really interested to see. We can get more into the schedule once it comes out, but
Yeah.
um, the last place schedule compared to like the Bears playing
I always go with the schedule,
Packers
and
playing the Rams, and so
I always go with the schedule how it lays out. We know
yeah,
the matchups. We don't know how it's going to be laid out.
right.
And the second thing I'll say is, I always tell people, James, follow the money. Okay, why are the Lions one of the top Super Bowl teams right now? Follow the effing money. Why are they the top in the NFC North? Why is Chicago so low? Now, I heard some interesting thing from a Chicago guy. Usually they're full of shit and total idiots, but I did like this take that I got from this guy. He goes, we lived on smoke and mirrors last year. We
We
lose
did.
Drew Dahlman. We lost players all over the place. Green Bay lost players all over the place. Don't let them fool you. I mean, even
They lost a ton
Packer
of
fans are like,
Packers.
"What the hell?" Um,
They don't have Kraft or Parsons to start the year and are gonna be coming off ACLs. The Bears defense, as you said, was a once in a lifetimes amount of turnovers, and I can't say that the Bears did their defense get better? Like, they lost some key contributors for them. I like the Kobe Bryant addition that they had, but they
yeah, but
lost.
it's smoke and mirrors because their
Yeah.
pass rush was so bad last year. So
Their front seven was bad, and they didn't really add to it, so.
they put lipstick on a pig. But I'll go back to what the guy said. He said, there's no team in NFL history that has made the playoffs with a quarterback that's completed had 27% off target rate. I lean back to that. So I think the Lions will be fine. I think they're going to be in the playoffs, and if our draft is any misnomer, they're definitely going to be in the draft, in my opinion.
Agreed. And the draft, it's a big draft for them for sure. And I really think they can really start to separate themselves if they hit this draft in a big way. I think they can be like a clear favorite in the division. This is a Packers team that doesn't have a first round pick. As I said, their best players are hurt to start the year. You could say Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph are, but outside of that, and I still think Kirby Joseph starts to start the year. This is going to be a pretty talented Lions team, and if, like I said, if they hit on the tackle, and all of a sudden you have a rookie tackle in the mix, and you have maybe two plus pieces to add to the defensive line that could contribute. You added a dozen contributors via free agency already. And I like the safety addition that they just had. That's another guy that is a
Chuck Clark,
contributor.
yeah, that was a good one. We didn't
He's
mention
not
that either.
yeah, he's not a superstar by any means, but that's a guy that can make a play in a big spot in a game. And he's a guy that is a good special teams player too. A little bit more, Christian Izien was kind of more of a Swiss Army knife, so now you have more of a veteran safety on top of it with the safety position right now. So, they have a lot of contributors in free agency, and if they can hit this draft, I really think it could put them in a great spot going into next year.
So our draft was great. It graded out as an A plus. We'll drop the graphic on social media. See what people say. I can't wait to send James pictures of what people say. Like you guys are total idiots. This is never gonna happen. We did in real time, so you can go back and watch it on YouTube, or you can go back and listen to it. I mean, obviously, if you watch it, you'll see exactly what was happening in real time. So, good mock draft today. We talked about Rod Wood. We talked about Decker. A lot of good things happening. Obviously, we're going to get down to the nitty gritty coming up soon. I'm thinking next week we might talk about some prospects that we like. Obviously, we already talked about them, especially in this draft. With this draft we had, but just some guys that we potentially could like, that we think are underrated. To be honest, because if you go over, you go first round picks, there's a lot of people that like Blake Miller. They like all these guys, so it is what it is. So. Well, there's obviously going to be news dropping. Lions are going to get a new uniform too, so that's the rivalry series that they have. So,
And is that right that it's going to be worn in a division game? Did I
all
read that
division games,
somewhere?
yeah.
So
Because
okay.
yeah, so Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago will be against them, and he
And
said
it's a
it's like
home. Is it a home jersey, or is there a home and an away option?
they're supposed to be neutral, so
Okay.
I don't know what
Okay.
that means, but
Maybe it's just one jersey, but it can be worn home or away.
I think the Green Bay Packers and Vikings are getting them too. So I think
Okay.
that kind of, if they have a certain color that transcribes with ours, like if they have white, I could see that happening. So Red Wings are scored, so that's good. All right. Let's
That's a big one.
let's get off the podcast. Hopefully we could see a Red Wings win.
Oh,
Hopefully the
please.
Tigers. Oh, James is going to opening day
Yes,
tomorrow.
sir.
Hopefully
Let's
the
get a win
Tigers.
tomorrow with the bats. Wake up a
Hopefully the
little bit.
Tigers change it a little bit. McGonagall first
McGonagall
home
looks
run.
great, and we're in discussion to extend them potentially, which would be an amazing move. Imagine locking down McGonagall for
So
8 to 9 years at
I'm
like 10 to 12 million per year.
James. I might do the parlay tomorrow. I've been thinking about it.
What do we
Tigers win.
got? Okay.
McGonagall home run.
Oh man, I'd love to be there for his first home run. That'd be amazing.
That'd be great. All right. We'll see you guys in the
All of
next
it.
one. Thank you for watching. You could go on podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Apple, Amazon, Spotify, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube. We gotta post that more. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Obviously, we did the mock draft. We'll reiterate the results for you. Fano, Jackus, Clark, Tucker, Marshall, Kozel, Golban, Gil Howard, and Perkins. And we'll post it on social media for you guys to critique. We'll see you guys in the next one as we talk more Detroit Lions football. And to play us out, see you guys next week.